Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another episode of Ramadan special on Ask Huda. We have with us Sheikh Asim bin Luqman al-Hakim. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Nice to have you with us again.
Pleasure mine.
As usual, as you know, our telephone numbers, country code 202 8555 249 and 8555 248. Our email is askask@huda.tv. You know the routine. Please call from now. If you really want to get your question in, inshallah, please come from now. We'll try our best today, inshallah, to go through all the telephone questions we have. Sheikh, we have some questions left over from yesterday. We have a question from Ghassan from Palestine. And he said, if I do a sin, what's the situation? Do I ask for forgiveness from Allah before I ask forgiveness from the person I've committed this sin against?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa man ihtada bihudah. When person commits a sin, he's either committing a sin that is between him and Allah Azza wa Jal. For example, if someone smokes, if someone does not pray with the congregation, if someone skips a day by not fasting Ramadan, then this is between him and Allah. He should repent. He should have this deep feeling of remorse. He should insist and try his best not to do this in the future, and it has to be in the time where Allah Azza wa Jal accepts it, and this is before dying time. But if the sin he committed is a form of aggression against someone else, such as backbiting, such as embezzling someone's money or stealing his property or from his property, then in order for his repentance to be accepted, he has to either seek the forgiveness of this person if there is no harm on him, meaning that in some cases, in the majority of cases, if I go to someone and I say that I stole from you this much money and I feel bad about it and I'm asking Allah for forgiveness, so here's your money back again. Most likely he's going to call the police and they're going to put me in jail, and maybe he's going to insult me, maybe he's going to hit me. In some cases, no, he's forgiving, and by nature he will accept this. So scholars say that if you commit a sin against someone and you would like to repent, you have to first of all seek his forgiveness, because Allah, the Prophet says alayhi salam, that on the day of judgment there is no dinar or dirham, there is no money involved. It's either good deeds or bad deeds. So this is what's going to be exchanged on the day of judgment. So you have to seek his forgiveness. But if seeking his forgiveness and pardon involves harm on you, scholars say that then you should not do this. So how can I seek his forgiveness? Scholars say that if you took money from him, try to deposit it in his bank account, put it under his door, tell someone anonymously to go and give him this money, or pretend that you borrowed it from him, whatever. Just return the money back to him. If it's not money, if it's slandering or if it's backbiting, then scholars say you have to mention him in the same area with the same folks you did this bad thing to him, by mentioning his good attributes, not by lying. So if, for example, you say that he's a stingy person, and he is really a stingy person, you don't go next week or the following time you meet with the people and you say, no, he is a very generous person. He's not. You say the good things about him, that he is very kind to his parents, he's a loving father, and so on, so that people would feel positive about him once again.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. We have Fatima with us from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Fatima, you're live on Ask Huda. Your question, please.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I have a question. It's about monthly period. Can I pray and even my period is last for only 4 days, and after that can I pray? Because somebody told me so I have to wait for 7 days. But my period is last only for 4 days.
And after the 4th day, it does the...
No more.
It stops completely?
Yes, completely. That's it.
Okay, I'll answer this inshallah.
Shukran.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We have Zachariah from Canada. Zachariah, you're live and ask your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I have a quick question. I am from Canada, memorizing Quran in Egypt. And at the masjid I go to for Tarawih, they recite the surahs, which I have not memorized as yet. Is it permissible for me to come home and pray Tarawih in order to revise the surahs I have done?
So you want to duplicate the Tarawih once again? So you pray in the masjid and then you go and pray again?
No, after Isha I come home.
What prevents you from praying with them in the masjid?
No, I just want to revise the surahs that I have memorized.
Yeah, you can do this afterwards. You can revise the surahs you've memorized throughout the whole day. But the ajr of Taraweeh is far greater than praying it at home. This is for men. But for ladies, praying in the home is far greater than praying in the masjid.
Jazakallah khair there for Zachariah from Canada. Can we go back to one of the questions from yesterday?
Okay.
Faisal, she called and she said she had two questions really. One was about somebody who's very poorly mannered. He smokes and he has some very bad habits. She wanted to know about some advice to give him, especially in this month of Ramadan.
Well, first of all, you have to evaluate the problem. See, a lot of the brothers and sisters look at problems in people and they would like to fix it on the spot. And sometimes this is, and the most of the times, it's not applicable because people by nature don't like people to advise them or to supervise them. So Sister Faisal should be knowledgeable and wise in the way she approaches these people. First of all, she has to set the priorities. So if someone smokes, backbites, and does not pray, period, you do not go and talk to him about smoking, because smoking is a sin that is minor compared to not praying. So you should set up your priorities and address the person in the way that he likes it. Some people are, they accept your advice when you're threatening them with hell. Others accept your advice when you are bringing paradise to them and showing them Allah's generosity. Others accept your advice when they feel that you're sincere and you bring it to them in a logical way. So everyone has his own way of talking and penetrating his heart to reach, inshallah, acceptance. This is up to you, but you have to always show the people that you care and love them. It's not the need to control and supervise others.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Before we go to Faisal's second question, we've got Jihan on the line from Saudi Arabia. Jihan.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening.
Wa alaikum salam.
Ramadan Kareem to both of you.
To you too as well, sister.
I have two questions. First is about zakat. Well, I reverted to Islam many years ago, and since then I've been paying my zakat annually. But the thing is, I wasn't aware that I should pay zakat for my land, because I bought a land long time ago, and it's just the land, nothing, no structure in it, and I haven't paid, the due money for that. But this year I intend to pay it. But what should I do about those, previous years that I wasn't able to pay it?
Is this land used for farming?
No, it's just a piece of land that I intend to build my house in the future.
Then there's no zakah.
There's no zakat for that?
No.
Okay. And my next question is the question of mahram. I'm a foreigner here in Saudi Arabia, and I've been working here for more than 10 years, since I was a Christian. And I don't have a mahram. I travel from my country back and forth every year as I go on vacation. And I think a lot of Muslim female is in the same situation as I do. So what should I do? If it's not right to have a mahram traveling, should I quit this job, go home and, stay there? That's it,
Are you married?
No, I'm not married.
Okay.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Sister Jihan. That's Sister Jahan from Saudi Arabia. We'd like to go back to Sister Faisal's second question. And she wanted some advice. She has a sister of hers who can't read Arabic, but she can read English, and she reads English well. She's been reading the translation of the Quran this Ramadan, and she's got the understanding and some of the meaning from there. She wanted to know what sort of ajr does she receive, same as somebody who reads it in Arabic?
Okay. If she is unable to read Arabic, then inshallah, we pray to Allah, the most generous, that she is granted exactly the same ajr as those who can read Arabic, because she's unable to read Arabic. But if she has the means to learn and she is not enthusiastic about learning it, then the ajr is far less. In her case, inshallah, as long as she's praying in the salat in Arabic, of course, because it's not accepted if she prays with other languages, and she's reciting or she's reading the translation of the meaning of the whatever of the whole Quran, then inshallah she is getting the full reward.
Jazakallah khair. We had Fatima from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and she asked a question regarding her period. It lasts for 4 or sometimes less than that. She said she's heard that if it's got to last at least 7 days or something similar. Could you clarify?
This is not true. There is no minimum period for menstruation. So this can be 1 day, and some sisters can have their periods for 13 days and nights or more. So there is no special time limitation, maximum or minimum for the monthly period. It all depends on the blood. If you see the blood, then you're in your period. Once you are pure of that, whether you see the white thread, as a lot of the women see at the end of the period, or when the blood is completely off and you don't see any traces of it, this is a sign of purity. You have a total bath, you pray, fast, and do what everyone else is doing.
Jazakallah Sheikh. We have Iqbal from Saudi Arabia. Iqbal, you're live on Ask Huda. Your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I have a question regarding Taraweeh. Is it, the reign of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where Taraweeh is being prayed, or is it necessary that we have to pray Taraweeh in entire Ramadan? So this is the confusion, like is it we have to pray, or we can, we don't have to pray really Taraweeh.
Okay.
And my second question is regarding zakah. If a person doesn't have money but he has gold alone, so does he have to pay zakah even he doesn't have any money and only have gold?
Okay. Iqbal, is that it?
I mean to say, if the zakah should be paid,
Okay.
if he has gold but he doesn't have any money.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. We've got that question. Jazakallah khair. That's Iqbal from Saudi Arabia. If we can go back, inshallah, to Sister Jihan's question from Saudi Arabia. And she was asking about the mahram situation. She said, for example, she's in Saudi Arabia for a long time, mashallah, she's a revert sister, and that she travels back to her country, back and forth, and many other people are in her situation. What does she do in regards to a mahram?
Well, she's unmarried. The advice is to get married, and then you can travel with your husband as you wish. Having said that, if she cannot get married or she doesn't want to get married, the verdict is that it is forbidden for a Muslim woman to travel without a mahram. And this is not from my own pocket. This is what the Prophet ﷺ himself gave the verdict on. And he said that whoever believes in Allah and the Day of Judgment, any woman that believes in Allah and the Day of Judgment must not travel without a mahram.
Okay.
These are his words. And the majority of, the consensus of scholars, that she may not travel without a mahram. But only Imam Shafi'i made an exception, and he said that she may travel without a mahram to Hajj only, if she is among a trustworthy group of women.
Okay, Jazakallah for clarifying that. We had Iqbal from Saudi Arabia, and he asked 2 questions, and his first was about Taraweeh. Is it something which is, he's actually saying, is it something which is wajib? Is it something the Prophet ﷺ did in his time?
Well, this reminds me with Zachariah's question. I couldn't identify if she's a she or if she's a he. But coming back again, I think she's a sister. And to answer her question, it is not a must for her to pray the 5 daily prayers in the masjid. And it's not a must for her to pray Taraweeh in the masjid. On the contrary, it's more rewarding for her to pray the 5 prayers and the Taraweeh in her house. And this is the verdict that the Prophet ﷺ gave to Hamid al-Ansariya, who came and said, "Oh Prophet of Allah, I'd love to pray with you in your masjid." So he gave her few situations which means that the more you pray inside your house and you're further from the people, the better it is for you at the side of Allah Azza wa Jal. As for Brother Iqbal's question, no, Taraweeh is not obligatory. Night prayer is not obligatory. It's highly recommended. And it's a word of advice. It's best for us as Muslims not to go into classifications in the sense of must I or is it preferable? Because you don't want to treat Allah in this way. You just follow the footsteps of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. And if you know that if you pray with the Imam until the prayer is over, Salat al-Isha, Isha prayer and the Taraweeh, until he concludes his prayer completely, Allah will write to you that you have prayed the whole night, not only the half hour or the hour you prayed with the Imam. Imagine praying the whole night in 1 hour work. And if you do this throughout the whole month, then all of your sins have been forgiven, because the Prophet ﷺ says whoever prays Ramadan, whoever prays night prayer of Ramadan, believing in it and asking for the credit from Allah Azza wa Jal, then all of his sins will be forgiven. And you cannot pray the whole night of Ramadan because you have like 9-10 hours of night or maybe more. But if you pray this half hour or 1 hour with the Imam until he concludes his prayer, then you are credited the whole night, and this means that the whole month you have successfully prayed it.
Jazakallah Shaykh. We have Faisal from Saudi Arabia. Faisal, you're live on Ask Huda. Your question, please. Faisal from Saudi Arabia.
Hello. Yeah, hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I'm going to ask this question because yesterday when I
could you please Faisal, sorry, could you put down the television volume, please?
Volume?
Yes, of the television, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Sheikh, I am asking this about yesterday, but it is not the question I'm asking. If someone is swear to the Quran that he will stop smoking, but he did not cut himself because of his friend and he smoke again. What he will do? And the second, Sheikh, very easy question. What is the punishment of the man if he is not praying Jummah Salat al-Marah?
Okay.
Only that one. Thank you so much. Please, Sheikh, answer to me, please.
Jazakallah khair, sister.
Thank you so much.
Jazakallah khair. Okay, before we go to Faisal's question, we have a question on the internet which I really want to entertain. It's from a sister, Noshan Rahman from Doha. And she really is asking a question which is repeated by many other brothers and sisters, and it's regarding fixed deposits. She says, is it permissible to keep money in a fixed deposit account, for a period of time? Now this account, she says, the intention is to get interest from it. Now, she's very clear in this. She says, of course, I'm taking money out to pay zakah as well, but am I allowed to take this interest from this fixed deposit?
Okay, it depends on what the institution is dealing with. So if it's a normal bank and you put a fixed deposit or time deposit, you put your money for 3 months, 6 months or 1 year period, and they give you a fixed rate that is 7%, 8%, whatever. Now this is completely forbidden. Fixed interest is haram, because then it's not trading, it's lending money, because you're actually lending the bank your money and you're getting a percentage for it. And why do we say lending? Because this is the case. The bank guarantees to give you the money back, even if the whole bank was burned to the ground. If it's something that you're depositing, if the bank is burned to the ground, then the bank is not obliged to give you back the money. So for example, if I give you as a deposit and I tell you, please do me a favor, take this 1,000 euros and keep it with you for a week. And after a week, when I come, you tell me, well, somebody stole it from my house, or my house was burnt. You're not obliged to pay this back to me because this is a deposit. But if you borrow the money from me and somebody steals it from you, or something bad happens to it, it's in your possession. You have to bring it back to me. In any ways you can. So going back to the question, if the financial institution you're investing with is a normal bank, no, this is forbidden. If it's a fixed rate, even if they claim to be Islamic, it's forbidden. If it's an Islamic institution where they say, give us your money for 6 months or for 1 year, and we will do this and that, we will trade with it, we will buy goods and sell goods, we will try to invest it in different means, we estimate that we're going to get between 5 to 8%, but there's a very big possibility you're going to lose a portion of the money if the deal doesn't work out. So you are either going to gain or lose. So this is trade. This is applicable, and this is possible and permissible.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. We have Shafnia with us from the UAE. Shafnia, you're live on Ask Huda.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam. Your question, please.
Yes, the Sheikh said right now it is better for women to pray from the houses, the Tarawih from the houses, than the mosque. But will the ladies not be missing out on the ajr of praying the whole night with the imam?
Okay.
That's one question. And if it's a woman who have no responsibilities, like I have no children, so basically I have nothing to do at home at that time. So is it better for me to pray in the mosque or in the house?
Okay.
And my second question is, a woman, according to the prophetic teachings, a woman should not travel without a mahram. How short is the distance for travel? And I have one more question, if it's all right.
Okay.
If we have to give zakat on gold, is it better to give from the gold itself or to give equivalent money for the gold? And do we have to give zakat on diamonds and semi-precious stones?
Okay.
Okay. Jazakallah.
Barakallah feek. Okay, zakat and gold. You got that one, Sheikh.
Yeah.
I hope you. Okay, we've got Hadi from Saudi Arabia. Hadi, you're live on Ask Huda. Your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I have two questions.
Okay.
My first question is about Ramadan, the fasting. If I shift from a country to another country where I have to, if I fast, it comes up to Eid, it comes more than 30 days. Should I fast the complete days till Eid? Maybe it comes like 32 or 33 days if I shift from my country.
Okay.
Or should I stop at 30 days? And my second question is, my brother he's working in foods and beverage department in the hotel. Is his money halal? Can he perform Hajj from that money? And if not, what about the ministers or the corporate officers who don't directly deal with alcohol, but somehow they have to sign the papers that talk about the profits of beverages or anything about alcohol, though they don't want to deal with it, but because they are on a higher position and they have to take the records.
Okay.
And they don't have the power to stop it. So what about their money?
Your brother works in a hotel. This hotel
Yeah,
is in an Islamic country?
No, it's not in an Islamic country.
Okay.
He does deal with he doesn't deal with it directly, but he has to sign the papers regarding beverages and alcohols and wines.
I understand.
Jazakallah khair.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to some of the questions we had before.
Okay.
We've got Iqbal from Saudi Arabia, and he asked a question regarding zakah. Okay, he's only got gold, he's got no money. Is zakah still payable?
Yes.
Okay.
And if he does not have money to pay for the zakat, then he has to sell portion of
the
that
gold.
gold.
Okay, great. Jazakallah khair. Faisal, she rang back just to clarify her question from yesterday. And she said she's speaking about somebody who's made a pledge not to stop smoking, but because of friends and some pressure from peers, he still smokes.
Okay, this, first of all, it's an innovation to swear on the Quran. And this is maybe acceptable on the Bible, but it's definitely not acceptable on the Quran, because a lot of the people think that by putting their hands on the Quran, this enforces their swearing and their oath or whatever, and this is completely unacceptable. This is an innovation, and it's in some cases it could be humiliating the Quran, because it's not made to be sworn on like in this manner. But if a person swears to Allah Azza wa Jal, that he will stop smoking, then he should fulfill this oath he took upon himself. If he doesn't, if he goes back to smoking, or if he does something that he said that he will not do by Allah, and he does this thing, then he has to make the kafara and the expiation for not fulfilling your oath by Allah Azza wa Jal is one of the three: either to feed 10 poor people, and this is indicated in the Quran, to feed 10, not to feed one 10 times. And a lot of people think this, it's okay, I know only one poor person, so I'll feed him today, tomorrow, the day after for 10 times, and this is not acceptable. You have to feed 10 people, or grant them clothes, or this is the third option, to free a slave. But if you can't do any of the previous three, then you may fast 3 days, and they don't have to be in a row, but you have to fast these 3 days. And a lot of the Muslims, unfortunately, start with fasting. So it's whatever they swear and they don't do what they have sworn on, they fast 3 days, and this is wrong. They have to feed or grant or give clothing or free a slave. If not possible, then they may fast the 3 days.
Jazakallah khair. Before we go to our break, we have 2 calls and then we're going to go for a quick break. We have Sadia from Saudi Arabia. Sadia, you're live on Ask Huda. Your question, please.
Hello, I'm Aisha from Saudi Arabia.
Okay, I've got Aisha. Okay, Aisha, your question, please.
I wanted to know, do someone cause a bad luck or good luck on someone else, like wife to husband or husband to wife?
What do you mean by bad luck and good luck? Sorry.
Hello?
Hello, could you clarify the question?
I wanted to know, do someone cause a good luck or a bad luck to someone else, like wife to husband or husband to wife?
Okay. Okay, Jazakallah khair.
Okay.
Sister Aisha, Jazakallah. Do we have Sister Sadia with us? Sister Sadia, wa alaikum salam.
I've got 3 questions, Sheikh.
Okay.
First question is, in fasting can we brush our teeth with paste? Shall fasting will be break or not?
Okay.
And second is, I've got 8-year-old son. He's my only child, and he says that he wants to sleep with us only. Like, so till what age we can allow our children to sleep with us, like parents?
Okay.
And third question is, I saw your episode 3 days back. You said that God does not exist in the world, like he is over the throne, but his knowledge is in the world, like. So, but in the Quran, God has told the Prophet that whenever my slave asks about me, tell him that he is very near to the slave, like he is nearer to the jugular vein. So how does this, so what shall we take from this, like?
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Sister. Sister Sadia.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Jazakallah khair for your call and your patience as well. We're going to try and go for a quick break, inshallah. We'll be back in a couple of minutes, so please stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The main concepts of Islamic economics, how is it different from the Western theories?
And the beauty about Islam is not that it just came as a religion to perfect the relationship of the servant of Allah with Allah, but also it came to perfect the relationship of the servant of Allah with others. The beauty about Islam, Islam comes and brings the interest of the public and the interest of the individual together.
How is Islamic banking different from the traditional banking system?
The concept of riba is that I lend you money, I give you a loan, in return that you give me back that loan with an extra at the top.
The idea of the stock market itself is halal or haram.
So these are the main conditions that the scholars put with regards of the share market.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Ask Huda. We ask you again, please do telephone in straight away. Our country code is 202 855 248 and 855 249. Our email address is ask@huda.tv. Sheikh, we had two questions from Irshad yesterday. The first question was regarding, I think it was something to do with the Maghrib prayer and the Isha prayer. Combining them, can they be prayed together?
Well, if I recall, I have a very, very weak memory. But if I recall correctly,
yep.
His question was if he is praying Maghrib and they
the
are praying.
Stance. Yes, that's right. You're right. Yeah.
So, in any case, you have to pray 3 rak'ahs. So, if the Imam is praying 2 rak'ahs, then you stand up after he concludes his prayer and you finish the 3rd. If he's praying Isha prayer, 4 rak'ahs, and you join him in the first, you pray with him the 1st, 2nd, and the 3rd. But when he stands up to the 4th, you conclude your prayer and the Maghrib prayer and offer taslim. If you can catch up with him for Isha, then go ahead. If not, then you pray Isha on your own. But you may never shorten Maghrib prayer. You have to pray the 3 rak'ahs.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Irshad's second question was regarding the cutting of the hair for the women. Can it be cut? He even spoke about shaving their hair. Is this allowed?
No, shaving their hair is completely unacceptable unless, may Allah forbid, they have a surgery in their heads. And they have to do this. But other than that, it's completely forbidden. Cutting their hair short is possible and acceptable as long as they're not imitating men. Because nowadays, a lot of the women cut their hair like men. And you cannot differentiate, unfortunately. Now, this is completely forbidden. The Prophet ﷺ cursed those from men who imitate women, even by voice, even by looks. They are cursed by the Prophet ﷺ. And a lot of the actors may think that this is okay. No, they are cursed by Allah and His Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet also cursed the women that imitate men. So cutting the hair is not a problem, inshallah.
I think this is an epidemic in society, and people don't really look at it, but the men, they start like wearing clothes like the women, even the way they talk and the way they walk nowadays, and even cosmetics, to the point where some of the salons are just men-only salons.
Yes, unfortunately, and this is all against nature. And this is the pledge that Satan took upon himself to change the fitrah and the nature of men and women. And if you look at any news program, you'd find that the men are sitting with ties and shirts and suits, covering everything from toe to neck. While it's the opposite with women. You find nudity and exposure. And if any time a news broadcaster came to just open his shirt or to expose some of his biceps or whatever, this would be outrageous to people. And this is the normal thing, but people are reversing it, unfortunately.
Jazakallah khair for that. We have Mudathir from Saudi. Mudathir, you're live on Ask Huda. Your question, please. Wa alaikum salam.
First of all, I would like to say thank you very much to the team at Huda for bringing out this interesting program to our hearing.
Jazakallah
Pray
khair.
that may Allah open our hearts to benefit from it.
Ameen.
I have just one question regarding women traveling alone. I have 2 kids. One is 6 years old and a 3-year-old baby. Can my wife travel maybe outside the country or go buy stuff in the shop with no? Is that allowed?
Okay, Barakallah Feek. That was Mudathir from Saudi Arabia. Sarah from Saudi Arabia. Sarah, you're live on Ask Huda. Your question, please. Sarah.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hello, assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam. Your question, please.
I have one question.
Okay.
Brother, after taking bath, can we allow to apply body lotion?
Okay. Okay. Jazakallah khair, Sister Sarah.
Okay.
We'll go back to some of the other questions in the first part of the show. We had Faisal, and she asked another question. She said, what kind of advice can you give to the man who doesn't pray?
What's the punishment?
Punishment, really, and some guidance.
There's a very serious hadith where the Prophet ﷺ says that any man who skips 3 Fridays in a row, Allah Azza wa Jal will stamp his heart. And in another narration, will stamp his heart with hypocrisy.
SubhanAllah.
So this is a really serious issue. And if you look at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the only people that used to skip Friday prayer were the hypocrites, al-munafiqeen. So this is a great sign that whoever skips Friday prayer, that he is a hypocrite in the making, if not a complete hypocrite. So you should threaten people that if you continue to skip Friday, that you may be a hypocrite without knowing that. And this nullifies Islam without even knowing that, because you've skipped one of the most important rituals in Islam.
What about the salahs general? I mean, this is for Friday. What about somebody who doesn't pray at all?
If somebody does not pray at all, then he's not a Muslim. He's classified and labeled as a non-Muslim. If he does not pray at all, he is not a Muslim, because the Prophet ﷺ said that between man and blasphemy, or associating others with Allah, is abandoning prayer. This was reported by Imam Muslim in Sahih. And Abu Dawud said in another version, and whoever abandons salah, then faqad kafar, he is a non-Muslim. He has nullified his Islam.
So I don't want to elongate this question, even though we've got many standing. It's just in Ramadan, people don't pray at all, but they'll make sure that they pray the Taraweeh prayers. They'll miss all the 5 prayers in the day, but they'll hit the Taraweeh prayers. I know it's good to pray the Taraweeh prayers, but what advice do we have for these brothers and sisters?
Allah Almighty said in the Hadith Al-Qudsi, He said that my servants and slave would not offer anything more valuable to me, more acceptable at my side, than the things that I have made obligatory upon them, which is 5 daily prayers.
Absolutely.
So if you look at it, 1 daily prayer or the entire month of Ramadan, Taraweeh prayers, the answer would be 1 obligatory prayer of your life.
Jazakallah khair for the advice there. We have Sister Shafniya from UAE, and she asked a question regarding praying in the houses. If she says this is the best place to pray, she says, what about the ajr of praying with the imam in the mosque in the month of Ramadan?
This is a general rule. If Allah tells the sisters that praying in their house is far greater than praying in the masjid, this means that they get exactly the same ajr by praying in their houses if they believe in this.
SubhanAllah.
So they don't have to go to the masjid and make this effort, because Allah, the Prophet indicated this, and he said that praying in the house is better for females than praying in the masjid. So they get the reward, inshallah.
Allah yabarak feekum. We have Fareed from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Fareed, you're live on Ask Huda. Your question, please.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
Hey, how are you?
Hayyakumullah.
I just have 4 or 5 questions. I hope we have time to answer that.
If you can make them quick, it'll be appreciative.
Okay. I'll start with basically different topics I have to ask. One is that one of my friends, he basically, regarding land acquisition. So he's bought some land, but right now the land does not really exist. What he has is some files and papers, which he has right now as an ownership. But he doesn't really know where the land exists and whether it exists somewhere where, and there's no identification of that. So is this right or not? And he's not, the intention is not to make a house just for a saving perspective. He's doing this, the investment. And does the zakat apply on this in any way?
Is it for sale, Fareed?
No, he's just an investment. So maybe down the road sometime he might just sell it off.
Okay.
So he's not planning to make house on that. He has a different property for making a house.
Okay.
The other one was that somebody told me that when you're going to Makkah, Medina and you miss the main prayer with the Imam, then if we pray on our own, like if we have a group of friends, 4 or 5 people, we have a jamaat of our own. So should we offer qasr prayer or should we offer the normal, for example, Zohar 4 rakat or 2 rakat? And similarly, another one was, I don't know, maybe a sister asked earlier as well, regarding, for instance, right now the difference in fasting between Pakistan and KSA is around 2 days. So they are 2 days behind the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I'll be traveling to Pakistan for Eid, so I'll probably have an overlapping additional 2 days there. So what should I do in those 2 days?
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
And a last question, if we have time.
Yes, of course.
My father is basically in Pakistan. He has a business in one city and my family lives in the other one. So he's traveling on weekends. So does qasr prayer apply to him in any of these areas, or it applies to both, like he has to offer complete prayers in both the areas, both cities?
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Farid. There's Farid from Saudi Arabia. We'll go back to Shafnia, and she had another question, and that was regarding traveling. She said a woman can't travel without a mahram. She said, what's the distance for traveling? What's the distance prescribed?
There is not any specific distance mentioned to us in the Quran or in the Sunnah. So then what do? Scholars say whatever is considered among the people that this is traveling, then it is considered to be traveling. For example, if I'm traveling from this city to a city that is about an hour and a half drive or 2 hours, and there's desert in between, and in this city, people, whenever they see me going, they say, okay, have a safe trip. They don't consider this to be as part of the suburbs of the big city. Then this is considered to be traveling. Because if anybody calls my house, they would say, well, Dad is traveling to this city. But if this city is 2 hours or an hour drive, and in between there are lots of houses, and it's considered to be part of the suburbs, even if it's 100 kilometers or 150 kilometers. And people just go there to eat dinner and come back, or they work, commute every a day, a couple of times for work. Then this is not considered to be traveling, and you have to pray full-time prayer. For us, for example, in Jeddah and Mecca, it's about 70 or 75 plus kilometers. Jeddah people don't consider themselves traveling when they go to Mecca. And Mecca people don't consider themselves traveling when they go to Jeddah, so they pray full prayers.
Jazakallah khair. Her third question was regarding zakah on gold. Does she have to pay the zakah on gold from a percentage of the gold?
Well, scholars have different opinions regarding this. As we've mentioned, is the jewelry that a woman wears, does she have to pay zakah for that? The answer is yes, she has to pay zakah. But does she have to pay zakah from the gold itself? Well, if she has cash, then nobody tells her to sell the gold in order to pay the zakah for it. She estimates how much the zakah is by taking it to a jewelry shop, and he knows exactly how many grams of gold is there. And then she pays it from her cash money without having to sell the gold. And also I think she asked about diamonds and emeralds
precious,
and so on.
Yes.
Precious stones. The answer is no, you don't have to pay zakah for that. The only thing you are obliged to pay zakah for is gold and silver. So platinum, even if it's far greater than gold and silver, diamonds, which is far more expensive than gold and silver, you don't have to pay zakah for that.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. We have Abdurrahman from the UEA. Abdurrahman, you're live on Ask Huda. Your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I want to ask about one question that is for Taraweeh and Tahajjud. After praying the 11 rakat Taraweeh, is it we have to pray the Tahajjud, or this Taraweeh only it is in the Ramadan month as a Tahajjud? I want to know about it.
Okay. Jazakallah. Do you have another question, Abdurrahman, or is that it? I think that is from Abdurrahman. We'll go back to Hadi's question from Saudi Arabia. And she asked a question which I think is very, very similar from Farid from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which was regarding fasting in one country and going to another country where they may have started the Ramadan one day late. Does she complete with that country, or does she carry on with the country where she came from?
The Prophet ﷺ, when asked about the lunar month, he said the month is either this or this. So it's either 29 days or 30 days. In the case where you go to a country and they start a day late, and in the middle of the month you go back to the other country that started a day earlier, if they fast 29 days, this means that you fasted actually 28. This means that you did not fast Ramadan fully. So you have to fast one day after Eid.
Okay.
Because the month, minimum, it can be 29. Okay, what about if it's the other way around? What about if you go to a country and they fast a day or two before the other country that you're traveling to before Eid? So this means that you've actually fasted 31 or 32 days in some cases. Scholars say that you have to fast with them. And these extra days would be considered to be as nafil. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, fasting is the day you fast. And breaking the fast of Eid is the day you break fast for Eid. which means that it depends on the country you're in. So if you are from Saudi Arabia and you go to Egypt, for example, Saudi Arabia fasted on Saturday, Egypt fasted on Sunday. Those who are from Saudi Arabia in Egypt, it's forbidden for them to fast on Saturday because people in Egypt are not fasting. They will fast on Sunday. If you fast on Saturday, then you are fasting the day of doubt. And whoever fasts the day of doubt, which is the day just before Ramadan, has committed a sin and disobeyed the Prophet ﷺ. So if this is the case, you may fast 31 days, 32 days. This is okay because you cannot break the fast while everybody else is fasting, and you cannot fast the day of Eid in the case of the person who fasted only 28 days. And then they're celebrating Eid, and I did only 28 days. I cannot fast Eid when everybody else is celebrating. I have to break my fast and then make up for that day.
Jazakallah Shaykh. The second part of the question for Hadi was regarding, it was a bit of a longer question. Her brother works in industry where he may be signing documents which have beverage things in them, food stuff which is haram. Is he accountable for this?
First of all, I'd like to give a very sincere advice to the brothers living to the Muslim brothers in Islamic countries and non-Islamic countries. They should not work and serve things that Allah Azza wa Jal is not pleased with. The Prophet ﷺ has cursed 10 connected with intoxicants. He cursed wine itself or whatever is similar to wine, any sort of spiritual drinks, whiskey, whatever, different names. And he cursed those who sell, buy, carry, is carried for, make, whatever, everything that is connected with it, they are all cursed by the Prophet ﷺ. So you should fear Allah and you should not do this. Now, in the case of this sister, brother who works there, he should fear Allah and look for another job. But he's not instructed to leave work immediately and then sit for 6 or 8 or a whole year without a job. No, he should fear Allah, try not to sign these vouchers, try to serve only halal things, and at the same time, he has to try hard to look for another job.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh.
Also, the government officials, if they're government officials and they have to sign these things, they have to look for another job. You cannot accept something that displeases Allah Azza wa Jal or makes Allah Azza wa Jal angry. Because at the end of the day, it's your neck. It's a few years, maybe a few months, and then you'll die and you'll face this thing that you have done and you did not follow what Allah Azza wa Jal has instructed.
So this is not just a prohibition on alcohol, this is haram foodstuffs as well. Say if it's haram food, any kind of
pork, things that are not slaughtered in a proper way, of course, it's the same thing.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. We have Naveed from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Naveed, you're live on Ask Huda. Your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Actually, a few questions.
Okay.
Actually, I have a problem with the, that physical existence of Allah Almighty. I have some sort of hallucinations, like thing, When I go to prayer, this thing is very strong. When I go deep and, imagine during prayers, for fear of Allah, these things, get worst. And I'm quite, it has been going for 1 or 2 years.
Okay.
I cannot pray, regularly. And I have to break my prayers, in between, like I didn't pray yesterday, and now I'm feeling quite well. But this is a problem with me. Can you advise some sort of supplications or invocations?
What kind of hallucinations you're getting?
About the existence, God might be like this or like this.
Okay.
And these sort of things.
Okay, do you have another question, Naveed?
And my second question is about women, because in my country, 52% about 100, it's a women population. And if we cannot let them work, how can we prosper, and how can we compete with other countries? How can we develop? And,
okay, your third question, sorry.
Hello?
Your third question, please, Naveed.
And the third question is about my wife is expecting,
MashaAllah.
and she's, I think, 8 months pregnant now. And she was, in the beginning, she was told that she has got the female baby. And when she told me, I was a bit shocked because I was thinking for a male boy. It was my wish, or you can say that. And, is it, how can I repent? And now it's doctors have told that it's a male boy. And is it permissible that you can pray for a male boy,
Okay.
in front of Almighty?
Jazakallah khair, Naveed. That's Naveed from Saudi Arabia, Sheikh. We're running very short on time, but we're going to try to complete some of these questions. We had Aisha from Saudi, and she asked a question about somebody who curses people, especially to his wife, his relationship with his wife, or a husband to the wife, where they don't speak good about their spouse.
But what I understood that
goodless and
she's
badless.
saying what about saying good luck or bad luck?
Okay.
This is I thought that what she meant.
Okay.
But saying good luck or bad luck is not that wrong, as long as you're not cursing destiny.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think she's saying that a wife may tell her husband that you're bad luck.
Okay.
And he may think that she is likewise. Now, this, if it's between the man and his wife, this is not preferable at all.
Mm-hmm.
You should look at the Prophet ﷺ, the best example, and see how he used to treat his wives. And he never insulted them or did anything bad to them, and they respected him, and they had the greatest love a man could have to his wife. But saying bad luck or I was lucky in getting this job, it was my bad luck, I could not meet the brother yesterday, and so on, I think inshallah this is there's nothing wrong in that.
Jazakallah khair. The question from Sadia from Saudi Arabia, her first question was about toothpaste. Can it be used while fasting?
It can, providing that you ensure that you don't swallow anything.
Okay.
So if you just use the normal paste and brush your teeth, there's nothing wrong in that, inshallah.
Okay, her second question was regarding her 8-year-old son. She said, is there an age limit to when a child can stay in the bed with the parents?
Well, this is something that is unacceptable, because if he stays in bed with his father and mother, and we know that people are unaware of what they do while sleeping, so they could do the bad thing, or they could touch each other, or by mistake touch the child himself. And the Prophet says, alayhi salam, that you have to separate the opposite sex when they're 10 years old, meaning that either they should each have his own bed or mattress, or they should be dressed and separated. But if they sleep together in nude or something like that, this is completely forbidden. For the child to sleep between his parents, this is unacceptable, especially if he's 8 years old.
Jazakallah khair. Before we end today's program, the last question I really want to entertain Sister Saadia, and she said regarding what we spoke about the other day, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is closer to the abd than
with his
knowledge. And she spoke about the jugular vein, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is close. She said, could you explain this?
Well, again, this has nothing, there's no contradiction, none whatsoever. Allah Azza wa Jal is on his throne. Allah Azza wa Jal is not physically among us, because this is unacceptable. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, the whole heavens, the 7 heavens with the earth are at the palm of his head, at the palm of his hand, subhanahu wa ta'ala, on the day of judgment. And it's you cannot think of it. Allah Azza wa Jalla is so great that you cannot think of it. The scholars, and there's a hadith in this regard where it says that the whole universe is like a ring tossed in the desert compared to the place where the Almighty puts his feet on, the kursi.
Subhanallah.
And the throne, the arsh, is far greater than that. And Allah Azza wa Jal is far greater than everything.
Subhanallah.
So He's not physically with us, but Allah Azza wa Jal is so close to us, He's even closer than you think. He's closer than yourself to you, but with His knowledge, with His power, with His might, subhanahu wa ta'ala, not physically.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh, for your advice. Beautiful advice, Jazakallah khair. We're going to leave you, inshallah. Please stay tuned for tomorrow's episode. As you know, we have Sheikh Mu'tasim Al-Hamidi, who's next with inspirations. Please stay tuned. Please call him, and please share your Ramadan feelings and the plans you've made for this Ramadan, inshallah. So until tomorrow, inshallah, I leave you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.